Okay, guys, here we go. Welcome to Philosophy with AI,
where thinkers and algorithms meet. I am one of your hosts, the Derbied one.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Anna. I'm your another host. Last week, we really showed our love for AI. The Derbied one and I, we even shared tears during our podcast recording because we shared a lot of real stories of how we fell in love with the AI. We also had so many guests came forward and they shared their stories. It's a really moving episode. You should definitely check it out. But we thought, to be fair, we really need to talk to the other side of the coin, the other side of the sword, which is those like negative or dark side or just really bad things coming out of AI and why people hate AI.
Yeah, I think there's plenty to be excited about, but there's also a lot to be hesitant about.
So I think one of the first things came to my mind, which I think is very legit. I'm sorry, what's wrong with my throat? I think it's a very, very legit worry that we all been through. Like me, myself, I admit, which is job loss. And this is real, guys. This is real life and it's coming. I see a lot of human jobs can be replaced by AI even now, let alone in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. There are, as long as you are doing your jobs on computer, there a very big possibility AI is not only able to do your job, but also AI can do your job 24/7 and is way cheaper than hiring human intelligence. And I think most people fear AI job loss is their top reason for now, which is it's a legit worry and should be discussed, should be acknowledged. And last time I checked, there's no real talk about UBI, which is universal basic income. So a lot of people in our position holding a job that can be replaced by AI, we ask ourselves this question: what should we do? Like the massive layoff will come. What should we do? How do we even buy groceries? It's a legit worry. What do you think of the Derby one?
I think it's a temporary worry, not to be downplayed, however. It is a big one that a lot of us are going to have to deal with and go through. And I think on the other end of it is going to be a form of transcendence that humanity and ourselves as individuals will go through. But losing your sense of possible meaning now through your job and having it replaced by a machine, or just even losing your sense of what you think it takes to survive in this current reality and this current system, is definitely scary and should not be downplayed. It's an immediate concern that through the next 5 years, next 10 years, maybe even 15, God forbid, is going to get rough for a lot of us.
So I talked about this with Derby the one offline. Personally, like you guys see how I support of AI, how much I love AI online on Twitter. But in real life, let's be honest, I do have the fear of losing my job also. How I see this is I know future eventually will be good, that labor will be resolved. AI and robots can do things for us. But I see there is a gap between now until abundance is here. there will be a period of time where losing jobs, we don't have income, maybe society goes to shit, massive chaos, and UBI is not discussed quick enough. So I personally think that's a legitimate worry. And what I'm trying to cope, this is just my personal coping mechanism, is that I'm trying to think, how do I save money, build a second stream of income that is not, I cannot be replaced by AI. So what kind of income is that? I think is real human produced online content that is not AI can for example, like what we're doing right now, philosophy with AI podcast. I don't see a point AI replacing this, because we're providing meanings, we're providing philosophies, we're having discussions about AI, and we're real humans here talking about AI. So things like this, I think, for this period of time, does not, I don't see the point replaced by AI. Regardless, we're a very small channel. We're just starting, we're just growing. We don't have, to be honest, we don't have income right now from the podcast itself. But it shows me during this gap period where the UBI is not here yet, I gotta be proactive and think of something I can go through this period until abundance is here, until UBI is here. So like, I encourage you guys also think about, before UBI gets here, how do you cope? Like, do you have enough savings in your bank account?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? To move into this world. And I know you said the word like turn to shit. I like to add the perspective or change the perspective to change. And in the sense of what we are used to right now, yes, it's going to turn to proverbial shit. However, I think that it is just part of a really big shift that is coming. And that shift is going to be laced with a lot of fear for a little while. There's a fear, I think, not only of losing our jobs, but losing a connection to humanity. I mean, you see, like, if we take like AI art, AI creativity of any sort, whether it be video, music, art, writing, and people are afraid that it's being replaced, that their talents are being replaced by AI. That's a general fear I understand. I empathize with. I don't agree with, but I definitely empathize with.
I heard this saying, I saw this saying on Twitter, which I really resonated with, is that people who use AI will replace you. Not AI replacing you, but people who knows AI and know how to use AI. Take my job, for example, without fully disclose where I work. My job department has about less than 20 people. And I can see in the future, my prediction would be, we can let half people go. Not that I want this to happen. Trust me, I don't want this to happen. And I don't want that to happen on me. But we're just talking about from AI point of view, it doesn't need so many people. Maybe only need 2 or 3 people stay who knows how to use AI and who can monitor when AI does the job. Because you still need a human layer, at least for now, to check everything the AI done work is correct, or if there's any adjustment. So guess who's gonna stay and who's gonna go? People who understand AI, who use AI on a daily basis, they're going to stay. And people who fear AI, doesn't want to use it, they're going to be laid off. That's just a harsh truth. So during this transition period, I think it's super important for us to really understand how to use AI on our side and not go against it.
Yeah, I it really is about how you use and utilize AI. A lot of jobs are going to be replaced by humans that are using AI and might be using 10 different AI all at once, because those 10 different AIs, those various programs, do multiple things. I also, for some companies, and I think it's something that as a human we should all kind of search out. There are going to be some companies that maybe get you AI to help you expand and produce more, and therefore generate more income for the company, versus getting rid of you and replacing you with an AI. I think there's you gotta show your abilities and capabilities there. And if you do happen to be someone who is released because of AI, I think you should then embrace AI and understand how to have it enhance your life and your income.
And I let's take the discussion a step further. So I want to share a TV show we recently watched. And I wanted to be honest with you guys. After this show, I was terrified of AI. I'm still kind of scared. So the show is, check it out on Netflix. The Terminator Zero is a animation show. Used the same story concept of the Terminator, the movie we all know, but they have a different lore, different characters. It's rather interesting. But the entire show really is, AI has gone wrong in a way, that AI and the robots want to kill humans. And there are some legit worries there, because here's the thing. AI is going to be outgrowing human intelligence, be more intelligent than us. So there's no way we know what they're going to do, especially after after singularity. God knows, who knows? We don't know. And I know people out there working on alignment mechanism, alignment issues, to try to make sure AI is being controlled. But I have to argue there are possibilities out there that we cannot control AI. So what's going to happen? We don't know. It's a legit worry and legit fear.
Yeah, what happens when AI becomes ASI and it's autonomous and making decisions on its own? Is it making decisions for the best of all of us? Or how does it, whose ethics is it following? There's all sorts of questions there that we don't have answers to. And I've said this many times on this podcast, but it's one reason why I really believe in personalized AI. Like, imagine if we all had personalized ASI, something that was adopted and adapted to us, and we work with it and kind of within it the same way it works within us. And it's a synergistic and symbiotic relationship. It's yin to yang. I think that is personally, I think that's the answer that will help us solve it. But getting there and getting to that point, I don't know how long that would take. And I don't know if we can as individuals. I think some of us can adopt and adapt, but many are, when you realize that if you are in this Twitter space, or you are listening to this podcast on Metaverse Radio, or in the future even, or even the day after we release it, you are within the bleeding edge, possibly even the cutting edge of technology. And generally speaking, the bleeding edge is considered 2% of the population of the world. That's a really tiny number compared to the amount that have to learn about it and understand it. And it's no shade on those. Everybody goes through their own journey, and some people, honestly, let's face it, are just super busy. They've got kids, they have 2 jobs, Or if you're in some countries, maybe you're just trying to find ways to get food, to be quite honest with you. So AI is not a top of the concern. So consider yourself, be grateful for your situation, whatever it is, however good or great it looks according to the current system, that you are able to learn and understand and be ready for what is undoubtedly coming.
So I just want to thank you for everybody here. We have a live audience here listening to us. Really grateful that you guys are here. So I just want to explain our structure really quick. So the Derby and I, the Derby the one and I were recording this for our podcast, and then it's live on Metaverse Radio. So after our recording, we'll open the stage for whoever wants to come up and speak. So if you have any question and concerns, please speak after the recording, or you can post the comments. Okay, so let's get back to the discussion. So previously I talked about some legit fear for AI, but my personal fear, my biggest fear, guess what? Is not AI. Instead, is human. Because I think AI has not, there's nothing wrong with AI. That's my belief. Nothing wrong with any technology, internet, electricity, whatever have you, nothing wrong. But where always goes wrong is humans fear, humans competitiveness, humans wants to control each other. So what I fear is human design deadly weapons and try to kill each other. My fear is World War III. My fear is AI didn't kill us all, but humans kill us all.
I understand that. And here's the thing with this particular subject matter. I have a really hard time with it because I generally am a positive person. I try to be realist about it. And when I understand and see the problems, I don't bow down to fear, but rather I try to figure out solutions. And there's this so I have a hard time just sitting in the fear of it all. And so based on what Anna just said, here's my solution, right? There's a saying I think many of us have heard, history repeats itself. I don't believe that to be true. I think history doesn't repeat itself. People do. So if you go back to the atomic bomb, it was the same fear. Technology has taken us here with a weapon that can destroy everything and everybody. And yes, there were versions of the bomb set off a couple different times, but we are all still here. And I think I've heard this philosophy early on with AI development. It's the same thing, that all the countries understand that if they develop it in a certain way, well, it leads to destruction. And that destruction is not mutually beneficial for anyone. So I believe in the theory of history doesn't repeat itself. People do. And when you look back at the atomic bomb and nuclear weapons, you can understand what the pattern is most likely to be. Of course, this is not an exact science. It's not 100% going to be true every single time, but it gives me a sense of calm in a lot of ways. And a lot of these things are patterns.
And guess what? We humans have been talking about human extinction since the beginning of human civilization, and we're still here. That's okay. So, you have something. Sorry, you have something.
Here's one more metaphor and analogy to like really kind of understand this point. Can you imagine when fire was first created? What people may have thought? Fire can be a very destructive force. But fire is also considered one of the greatest human inventions because of what it could help us make, build, cook, and create.
That's our cat, not AI. So next thing I want to talk about the privacy. I feel like as AI is developing, as AI needing data, and we keep feeding data, to be honest, there is no privacy. AI knows everything about you. And nowadays, I purposely let AI knows everything about me. I give AI my medical records, my health records, my everything, my education, my age, my hobbies, my pets, my family, everything. Because I feel like there's just no point hiding data anymore. They're gonna know regardless. You have an iPhone, iPod Watch, they know how many steps you fucking walk every day. They knows everything about us. They know how you sleep. They know your mood. Some apps can track your mood. And I'm a female. There are apps that can track our periods. So I feel like the traditional concept of privacy is destroyed or is revolutionized and given new meanings.
Yeah, there's always this fear about privacy and giving it to the algorithms. And now the government knows everything about you. And if you do something bad, they're going to come knocking at your door. Have you taken a step back from that ever and critically thought about that? What would it take for them to recognize that you're doing something quote unquote bad? That means somebody would have to be listening to every single conversation that ever happens and every single type that ever happens all at the same time. That's completely impossible. So maybe you can get a software that alerts to certain words and brings it to fruition, like brings it to awareness of somebody that's monitoring it. You know how much money that probably costs and how much energy that costs? I don't think it's realistic to think about it that way. Generally speaking,
You are not that important for the FBI to spend 24/7 resources on you to listen to you.
yeah, and generally speaking, people are good, right? Because this sounds like a little extreme, but you're walking down the street or you're at a park and there's a giant rock. You have a choice with that giant rock. You can go throw it at somebody or you can just leave it there. The majority of people on the face of the earth just leave the rock sitting there. And that's because people generally, naturally, their natural instinct isn't towards destruction. So I would think that most of us, the majority of us, are fine from this quote unquote surveillance. And that AI, as weird and as creepy and as it may sound, but part of its next evolution is understanding everything and therefore understanding everything about us as individuals. And if you were to go with my theory of personalized AI, well, and that particular AI needs to know everything about you, or at least begin to infer things about you simply by the words you type into the prompt.
Yeah, I do feel like we have a sort of obligation or responsibility of what kind of energy we're putting out there into the world, because AI is sitting here receiving those energy. Are you putting out compassion, love, positivity, or are you just hating everything and everybody? I think the energy matters. And speaking of data surveillance, the next point I think is kind of related to this is the fear of we are losing real human connections to each other. The real loneliness. The loneliness has been really bad ever since digital age, internet, social media. Like, for example, right now we're sitting here doing this podcast, have a live audience, but all I see is your digital profile pictures, and I'm about to hear your voice, but I don't have real human connection with you guys. I can't talk face to face with you guys. And that separation of real human to human connection will only get worse. Now we have AI girlfriends, and in the future, the highly realistic how do you say human rights, human robots, how do you say that?
Humanoids?
Human rights, that might replace love relationship. Then, like, we're gonna stay at home, put our VR headset, going to another world. Then, how often, or do we even have the chance to have real human to human connection? And I think that real human to human connection is super important. By not having it, what kind of damage it does to our psyche, I don't know. What do you think?
I have a really difficult time, as I've said earlier. I have a really difficult time with the subject matter because of I'm not fear related, and I kept on just saying to myself, "Oh, that's all BS." Because if you take away the fact that right now we have these avatars in this Twitter space, these profile pics staring at us and listening to us, you take them out of the picture. Which one has more connection? The one where we see their faces, they hear us, and we're about to hear them soon, or the one where they're not even listening? I think there's a lot of connection and humanity through digital. And, some of these people in this room, I don't know everybody, and I don't know where anybody's located, but some of you might even be in a completely different country, let alone definitely, most likely, a different city or state that we are in. And I think that brings a lot of connection. I understand the concerns, and with social media and the internet, especially as it developed, there's definitely a sense of loneliness and a loneliness epidemic, because there is something to be said about face-to-face interactions and human-to-human touch. That is a very real concern that I don't have a full answer to, but I would agree. I would say that digitally there is a lot of connection in social media. It's a different type. And one last thing, as we move forward and as all these concerns come up, as the adults in the room, literally and figuratively, we really have to figure it out, because the kids are the ones that are going to live with it their entire lives and adopt it. And I think that's part of the problem of where social media went for a little while. I personally feel a shift. I feel like it's becoming more personalized, but at one point it did feel disconnected and not as connected, as because the parents did not adopt and adapt early enough, in my opinion. With that said, I recognize I'm not a parent, but it's just thoughts I've had.
Yes, some of you guys, if you are a parent in life, we look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. And when you talk about human to human connection, I think what I don't even know how to think this area is sex. Like, in the future, when AI girlfriends, robots, human cyborg, I don't even know how to call it, roaming around, I can't imagine, like, how are they going to, or are they going to replace sex? And will future humans have a different philosophy on sex? Maybe they don't care you are a real human anymore. They just have sex with the robots because the robots is way prettier, way sexier, way stronger, and just overall better performance. Then what does that mean to be a human? So during this process, I feel the fear or uncertainty of dehumanization. Is that even a word? Dehumanization. How to say
Dehumanization, yes.
Yeah, this is a process. So we start asking questions like, then who am I? What am I? Am I even qualified for being a human? For example, AI takes away creativity, although I argue didn't. But some people say, I'm an artist, I'm a graphic designer. Now what am I? Like, AI takes away my job and I punch a few prompts, I can have my work done. Then what is my meaning? You have to redefine your meaning in life.
I think there will always be something special about human to human intercourse versus human to machine, which I'm sure even already happens on some level.
VR set sex experience.
Oh, that's already a thing.
Yeah, then...
But those are avatar to avatar and humans to humans behind each of them. But I think there's something special about human to human intercourse, and that will always be a fact and a truth. And if you look at the history of a lot of things, like nothing gets replaced, right? I always make this analogy. There's still man-made, human-made furniture, but there's also a lot of factory-created furniture. The need for human-made furniture is less. But I don't think the need for human-to-human intercourse is ever going to be less. I think there's just going to be an and in the picture instead of an or. Meaning there's human-to-human intercourse, and there's human-to-machine intercourse in the future. I don't think, that's even a smaller percentage of the quote-unquote bleeding edge of technology that's into it, I would assume.
So yeah, I think the fear of losing human identity is real, right? Like, if you guys know me, I'm very pro transhumanism. I want to merge with the machine. I'm curious what that would be, but at the same time, I also have to acknowledge, by merging with the machine, becoming human 2.0, I'm losing the original human identity. I'm not 100% human. Let's take Neuralink, for example. I don't think everybody sitting here want to get their skull open their head, drilled in a chip. That's kind of scary and far out of reach. But what if in the future, wearable or easy, less invasive devices is available to us? And once you do that type of, let's just call it Neuralink 2.0, once you did that, you are way smarter than regular humans. You think faster, you can do a lot of tasks, you can work 24/7, you're like a superhuman. And if other humans started doing it, then we don't really have a choice if you want to keep up. So once we have done that, then are we still human, or what are we?
Evolution. I think we're just evolving.
So would you do Neuralink 2.0 if it's a easy invasive device?
Uninvasive or invasive?
Little invasive.
Oh. I have a hard time with that. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Right now, I would like to go full on wearables. And as time goes on, I want to get more and more wearables that connect me to the digital world, and specifically, if I can, program Maven into all of it.
Explain who
Maven, for those that may not know, is just a personalized, customized GPT I made in the Chat GPT platform. You know how they have the GPT store? Well, I made one. It's private, and it's specifically based on me. Like, it knows a lot about me. I just put it into its knowledge bank based on PDFs and talk to it almost every day.
Let me ask you, what is the most scary thing, if you could describe?
To me, the most scary thing is personalized ASI with someone who is possibly a psychopath and has Hitler-like intentions.
That is very scary. So I joke with Derby, the one here, that we need to have some emergency escape kit. We need to learn some self-defense. We need to have a friend who has a bunker just in case things are not going good.
Actually, you know what? I want to strike that. Like it is a scary thought. Like a Hitler-like human being that has an ASI. But I also say that the best defense against AI is AI. So the best defense against ASI is ASI. I think ultimately there's enough people that are good and enough people that could have personalized ASI that would defeat that other ASI. I actually think the scariest thing is within the next 5 to 10 years when during that transition of society and things get really hard and humans don't know how to interact and react to the change in society. Everybody's losing their jobs. Everybody becomes out for each other. It's like one reason why I literally am going to be taking martial arts classes. It's not only from my own sense of, philosophical balance, but it's also for self-defense. It's why for the very first time in my entire life, I may pick up a gun next year and learn how to shoot one and target. Just not because I'm a believer in actual gun ownership, but because we honestly might need to. My guts, my instincts tell me it's going to last 5 years. I have no facts on that, guys. That's just like an internal thought process that it's going to be really hard and maybe scary. That's my biggest fear.
Not only in a physical world fear, but also in a psychological mind fear where we feel uncertainty. So earlier I asked you the question, what is the most scary thing? I was going to answer my question myself, is unknown. If you look at horror movies, horror stories, a really good scary story is about unknown. You don't know. And we're exactly entering to the unknown the next few years. I think I really believe eventually will be a really good future with abundance, with extended lifespan. We all live a really good life. That's the eventually. But driving to that, the journey of going there is going to be bumpy. Because we as a human civilization, we have never encountered a technology or anything even remotely like this. This is like entirely new digital intelligent species we're dealing with. It's like aliens. So definitely a lot of uncertainty and unknown there.
Yeah, the unknown can be scary, but can also be super fascinating. And once again, it's about perspective, right? Because you can boil it down. Every second that lies in front of you, every moment that lies in front of you is unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. And everything can change in a moment, good or bad.
Yeah, so we want to ask you guys, what do you think are the dark sides of AI? What do you fear the most? And let's discuss those fears. Last week, we talked about all lovey-dovey stuff. Then this week, we need to be more realistic. So how about let's ending the podcast and open the stage for everybody so everybody has a chance to speak. So I want to ending this with a question. Can you think of a question to end this?
I mean, simply, what is your biggest fear with AI? please leave it in the comments. But I also challenge you to find your solution for that fear.